It's Friday, November 1st, 2013, and let's talk about what happened this week over at xdadevelopers.com. As I'm sure you probably realize, it's actually October 31st, Halloween night, when I'm filming this, so this is a thing that is happening. You know how we are at XDA, we're professionals. First up, there was some huge news that came out this week. Of course, if you hadn't heard about it, Google officially announced and unveiled Android 4.4 is now officially available, as well as the Google Nexus 5. Starting at $349, the Nexus 5 is available in white and black in 16 and 32GB varieties. The 32GB varieties are all $399, and they work on a huge amount of networks, everything basically except for Verizon. That, however, has not stopped me from going ahead and pre-ordering one. Hopefully mine will be shipping out in the next few days. And of course, as soon as I have that available, I'll let you know. I'll either make videos over on my twill.tv channel or maybe make some videos here on XDA. And yeah, that thing was getting difficult, so we're gonna go ahead and take the head off now. As far as Android 4.4, there are loads and loads of big updates in it. It really was not as much of an incremental update as one might have expected. There are some things built into it to help ease fragmentation, so it'll work on devices with as little as 512 megs of RAM, which actually goes back quite a few years now. There's some improved support for NFC, so NFC devices don't actually have to have that secure element in the NFC anymore. There are a whole load of UI improvements and improved dialer and all sorts of other fun stuff. This is not going to be an Android 4.4 review or anything, just sort of giving you the idea. You can, of course, check out Google's blog post to get all the full details on it, and maybe when I get my Nexus 5, I'll make a video going over all the new fun features. But there was an interesting story that popped up just this evening about Android 4.4 that I wanted to make sure to mention as well. Apparently, one of the key features that's going to be coming with Android 4.4 that not really being hyped all that much is there's going to be a super secret hidden option deep down in Android where you can actually go in and set it to not use the Dalvik VM. Instead, you'll have the option to use Art, which is an option that came out of a company that Google picked up, a French company they bought a little while back. And supposedly, this is going to lead to some massive, major performance improvements. Of course, that Java-based Dalvik VM on top of Linux, it's gonna completely slow things down. So when you replace it with something that's much more lightweight and optimized, yeah, it's gonna work pretty well. Included in this is also going to be a DeX to OAT, yeah, because currently files are running with the DeX, that's why you've got the ODexed ROMs and things like that, and DODexed. Instead of using that, it's all going to be using OAT files, and you've got this converter that makes all of them compatible with this new engine. Now, like I said, it is still a hidden option. It's still not going to be in Android 4.4, but it'll be sort of hidden back there in the back end, so developers can start to take advantage of it and prepare for future releases of Android to actually use that. Alright, that thing became insanely hot, so I had to take it off. Nothing else is coming off though, so don't get excited. Unless... The next big major story that I saw come out this week is a story out of Google and Motorola. Not too long ago, we talked about a Kickstarter project called Phone Blocks, where a guy essentially threw out this concept, this idea, where he wanted to take a central board and put little blocks on top of it that would have individual components where, you know, when it came time to upgrade, you could just take the screen off and get a better screen, take the camera off, get a better camera, take the battery off and get a better battery. It was entirely concept, and of course it didn't seem like something that could ever come to fruition, but apparently Motorola has some faith in that. They say that they've been working on this, what they're calling Project Ara, for the last 6 months to a year, which is a lot longer than Phone Blocks was around. So there's some speculation as to whether or not there was some behind-the-scenes stuff going on, and whether or not Phone Blocks might have actually been sort of a viral project to get this concept in people's brains before Motorola came out and said, yes, we're doing this. And realistically, this is sort of the one thing that the whole Phone Blocks concept seemed to be lacking, was one OEM to step up and say, we want to do this, we're going to work with the major manufacturers and get the components needed to make this a reality. Now, I actually spent some time today and yesterday talking about this with my coworkers, talking about this with people that I know, and it's going to be a hard road. It's going to be a long road ahead. If this works out, it could be epic, and if this doesn't work out, I wouldn't be surprised. I hate to be the pessimist about it, but think about it this way. You get this central board that you can put a new screen on and new device components on, and then suddenly you decide you want a bigger screen. You can't really do that. And then you drop the phone, and it explodes because it's in 15 different pieces. Now, luckily, the grand majority of those pieces are not going to break. They're going to be little teeny tiny things that you just slide back in wherever they go. That also does bring up the point where you've got this thing that's composed of a bunch of little pieces, and when you upgrade one piece, what do you do with the piece that you're upgrading? Do you recycle it? Do you attempt to resell it and make no money on it? You know, you pay $50 for a new component, well, the one you've just taken out is now completely worthless. You might get $5 for it on the used market. It's really a confusing concept, and I'd be curious to see what your thoughts on this Project Ara are down in the comment section below if you're interested in contributing to that. I will, of course, be reading and responding to comments on that as well, because I've got a lot of opinions on it, and I'm sure you guys do as well, so let's talk. And another couple of things that came out this week. There were a couple of leaked updates that came out for Samsung devices. Specifically, the Samsung Galaxy S3 received UCUEMJ2, a leaked Android 4.3 update. This is specifically for the i747 variant, which is for AT&T, Rogers, Bell, and TELUS, so it's not for every single one out there. But there's nothing stopping you from taking a look at it if you're on a different carrier, and if you are on this one, you might want to take a look at the thread about it as well. From what I understand, it brings in all those famous Samsung components that are coming to everything now, Knox and all of the stuff that not necessarily everybody wants. And actually the second update is not a leaked update. Verizon is actually bringing Android 4.3 to the Samsung Galaxy S4. This update is going to be VRUEMJ7, and that's to, again, the Verizon Samsung Galaxy S4. And that's bringing in the Knox stuff, but it's also enabling a new LTE band for the Galaxy S4, enabling band 4, which I think is Verizon's 700 megahertz band. So if you were running on stock on the Galaxy S4 on Verizon, you might be able to go ahead and get this OTA update, read through the forum thread, see if there's any details, blah, 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 make sure it's safe, and we move on. Just to go ahead and wrap things up, there were 3 other videos posted to XDA Developer TV this week. The first one was an XDA Xposed Module review done by TK talking about Wanam Module, and then I made a video wrapping up the Android 4.3 update for the Nvidia Shield. And then TK did another Android app review talking about safe and secure Notepad. So if any of those videos or any of the stories that I've talked about sound interesting to you, you can always find the links to those things down in the video description below. You can also find the links to my YouTube channels down there as well as that like button. If you like this video, you can click that. That makes us happy. And you can also subscribe to receive our content as soon as it becomes available down there. Thank you so much for watching though, and I will see you again on Monday.